Hi guys, welcome to one more episode of Women in Marketing. So this is episode number 8. We have Mansi Rastogi with us, and she is running a branding and communication agency. It's B2B focused branding and communication agency. So she has been into this for like more than 10 years, and she's helping especially B2B brands, and one of her agencies name itself is very interesting. It's called Rebrand Advisory. So they help in rebranding your business. So this is about her, and she's very out of the box lady whom I came across the niche marketers community, and they set their own rules working with clients. So I feel episode with her today will be very inspiring for other ladies and gents as well, because capabilities will never see a gender. So apart from that, but definitely other women will take a lot of inspiration from Mansi's this thing, because of her the personal choices she has made and the academic or career choices she has made me just think, oh, people are like this also. So that's something I can say witty or funny whatsoever. But it takes certain guts to challenge the status quo or try to take a different path. Road not taken. I still remember that English lesson or poetry in my CBSE school. The road not taken. Very less people do that. So Mansi has did this. So Mansi, just please quickly introduce yourself in few lines.
Okay, so thank you, Govardhan, for having me on this. Uh, so hi, everybody. My name is Mansi Rastogi. I have been in the branding and marketing business for the last almost 20 years. In the last 13 years, I have been running an agency, which, like Govardhan mentioned, is called Rebrand Advisory. We work with B2B businesses to help them with their rebrands, repositioning of their business, and their any kind of branding and communication needs that they have got. I think my mic is a little off. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's fine. Okay. So, I mean, that's where we are at. I mean, while doing that, I'm personally, I'm also doing what is called like a associate coaching with some of the international mentors that I've had. I have also been a guest lecturer at like NMIMS and a few MBA schools for branding and design. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, I actually recollect your the passion for design. So you have been in design for quite some time. You worked on design side for quite some time, and you're also working as an instructor there. Like what made you come out of design? Like, because only design, graphic design or whatsoever you call. So you told you were also an instructor, and also can you brief that moment?
Yeah. So I started my journey as a graphics instructor. Without like I started my career really as a graphics instructor without any real knowledge of design. So all that I had learned was learned on the job learning, seeing things. Basically, I was teaching software, not so much design, right? And I fell in love with the process of designing. Like every time I would see, at that time, you didn't have internet as explicit as it is today. But we used to go through all these big books and things like, those expensive design books that you get. So we used to go through these beautiful big books and things like that. And we were like, oh, wow, we have to learn how to do this in Photoshop or in CorelDRAW at that time. So that's where my journey actually slowly started to fall in love with design. And from there, I took a career break once I was about 5 years into it. I took a career break to actually formally study design. Yeah. And that made me fall in love with it even more, because what is not normally seen by an untrained designer is what they teach in your foundational level of design, right? It's not about how well you can draw something, it's about how much you can expand your mind. So, and a very small example of this was like we were given an assignment to draw the sun and the moon. And you're thinking, oh, that's so simple, right, to do. But we were told to do that 60 times in different ways. Not a single one should look like the same, like the other one. So first 6, very simple. Second I mean, the second 6, like when you reach 12, you're like, okay. When you reach 18, you're like, oh my God. And then your mind just starts to explode, right? Because now your ideas are coming from everywhere, right? And that's how designers are actually trained. Like they're trained to expand their mind, not really just to do like, work.
Oh, that's very interesting because अभी एक graphic designer को हम बोलते हैं यार एक डिजाइन ऐसा है उसको can you give 3-4 variants
Yeah.
तो बहुत लोग 3-4 variants दे नहीं पाते हैं like
Yeah.
it's like it's very surprising to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a long time for you to do that work, but I mean, that is the lost art of design, right? What people are not realizing is that that's how formally trained designers are. Like they are designed, the mind is trained to expand in various ways. So,
so from there you went to that's what you're talking about, the 2 years of study.
Yeah, 2 years of study. And during that time, I also realized that just design is not enough. I started to realize that content or copy or communication is so important both ways. So you need design as well as communication and content together to make an impact on someone. Because when someone is looking at a design, they are not just looking at the design, they are also looking at the copy. So the copy is super important, and the design is supposed to boost the copy. It's not supposed to just keep it like that. So I think that is a part that kind of gets missed if you are an untrained designer, right? You don't realize that copy is important.
And also, both of these can complement each other when one person knows both of the things.
Both of them.
So he knows how much to actually put it in the design side and how much you can use it for the text. And how can you keep it interesting or maybe add other elements of curiosity and marketing related emotions. So,
so there is a principle in design which is called hierarchy, right? Which is used even in other places. So certain things you make big because you want attention on them. So what is it that your eye sees first? What will it see next? What will it see next? So when clients are telling us logo bada karo, it kind of hinders you. But that's what I'm saying. So like there has to be a hierarchy of how your eye flows, on a particular thing. So what I started to realize is like at the end of the day, what is design doing? It's a functional thing to communicate. Like I'm trying to reach the target audience, and that would not happen just with design. So I had to learn how to write. And this happened on the job as I was doing it, because I was also working with a copywriter. So I was working with a copywriter together. We would get together and do that. That's where the crux of our company started, when we started together.
Your branding agency has taken. So you also shared about that story that to study after means being in a job and just leaving it aside, and you started studying, and that too for 2 years, and the fees was like 8 lakhs Indian rupees. Which is quite huge for the, I think 2005 or 6 at that point of time.
2005, 2005.
So
it
was 88 lakhs in 2005 is very much, it's a huge sum. Right now also it's a big amount only. So you took this thing, and so how did your parents react? How did your family react about that thing?
My mom actually was the one, she's always told me this, saying that, nothing you learn ever goes to waste. So it doesn't matter what you want to learn, give it all you got, right? So when I decided on this particular school, which was charging that much, and it was an international school with all international teachers. So, I mean, I could understand why they were charging so much. Back in 2005, I didn't have that much cash. Like I had barely been working 5 years, and nobody saves during that time, right? So I had a little bit saved, and I was like, how will I manage this? Like I was more worried about that, saying, how will I manage this, rather than, the other side of it. Approval side of it. So my mom only told me one thing. She said, you will not be working any longer. How will you handle the payments? Because 8 lakhs for her also at that time was quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, and I am not used to, since the time I've started working, I'm not used to taking money from my mom. So I said, okay, I will do this on my own. So she said, how will you manage it? The only thing I told her is I will do freelancing along with this. So she said, okay. So I put myself, like I reached out to a few past clients in one of my old, the business that I was working with. I did consulting with them. I did a little freelance work here and there, just so that I could cover up that. And it was a payment plan over 2 years, right? So we did that payment plan over 2 years and managed to sort of fill out the 8 lakhs. But I mean, I was super proud of myself to be able to do that at that time.
No, definitely, because it takes a lot of confidence while jumping into something.
Yeah.
When you don't know exactly what is going to unfold. So, but still you got into it. You thought of like, yeah, karna chahiye to kar lenge, kaisa bhi karke kar lenge. That is some entrepreneurial spirit out there, or else it's not at all easy.
Yeah, and the worst part was, like, I mean, I don't know whether it was the worst part or the best part. Like, I was the oldest person in that class. Like, I was 27 years old. Everybody else was like 10 years younger than me. You know? So it was like I was sitting with these bachas in my class.
शुरुआत में आपको देख के खड़ा हो गए होंगे, गुड मॉर्निंग मैडम बोल के.
It was almost like that. They're looking at me like, how old are you? And I made friends from there, no doubt about that. I made friends with them, but it was like I was at par with them, you know.
You are very chill kind of a person, so you can easily make friends even with 16 years old. That's what I can realize after talking to you. So after this thing, like when we talk about your marketing team, when you started, because let us talk about your agency as well, like you're managing an agency and all. So there are two things to it. One thing I want to talk about is getting into partnerships, like how you choose partners, because you told you have a partner in your agency. So many times I hear always bad things about partners. Many times I came across many guys, they generally talk, यार पार्टनरशिप में ना घुसना नहीं चाहिए यार, प्रॉब्लम होता है. देखा हूँ like 2-3 years काम करके उसके अंदर they will depart and not on a very good note and all. I saw that. Yeah. So what is your take on that thing, partners? And
so I mean, and this I did not talk to you about, but I have been through both type of partnerships. The one that I am in currently, the agency one that I'm in currently, that has been a very good partnership for me. Yeah. But I did go through one more partnership which was not so good. Okay. So I did make a mistake, and that's the one that I also realized from. But the first partnership happened because the two of us had worked together, right? And also, like, I had known my partner for many years. She's also a cousin, and we had worked, but our work ethos was similar, right? So we had worked together many years, and after that, like during those 2 years that I was doing freelance work, she was helping me with the copy at that time. That's the reason why we started the partnership together, because we realized that we could work with clients together. She could do the content and the copywriting, and she could collaborate with me, and it was a fun thing to start. That's how we originally started. Yeah. So my advice to anybody who's doing a partnership is always date before you marry. So you have to do projects together. Yeah. Do client projects together. See whether you like how the other person is working, because that's where the most problems happen. The second other problem happens is where money is concerned. If you're not clear about how much money, what is going to happen, then there is going to be a lot of conflict.
Yeah, terms, conditions.
Terms and conditions. You have to be extremely clear, like be as clean as possible, especially if you value the relationships that you're building. Yeah. So in the second partnership where I had a bit of an issue and we had to dissolve that partnership, that most of the situations happened because of the other people over promising things that they couldn't deliver, right? Also money related stuff. So they wouldn't tell us how much they were making, what expenses they weren't paying GST. So we were all starting to get liable for it, things like that. So that was a failed partnership. But from that, I realized what not to do, right? Because we had not dated enough.
Don't get into partnerships easily without knowing the person in and out. Yeah. And also
without working with the person. Knowing the person, you can know somebody, but without working with the person, don't get into it.
Yeah, because when you're working, you realize the actual thing. Because when you know a person, we know as a person because we hang out, we go for partying. So that knowing will be different. But while work, how they deal with the work and how you deal with the work should match somehow. some of the things should match.
Especially if it is a friend, right? If it's a friend, the way a friend works is very different from the way a person who's working in a company will work. A friend is a friend. A person who's working in a company there is a different dynamic there. So you have to see how do you manage that partnership with somebody whom you're working with.
Yeah,
you have to do at least
I think one more thing is, as a person, I may be very good, but maybe I may not make a good partner with you. It is possible.
Yeah.
That is how that can also happen. So yeah.
And this is true even of employees. Like when you're hiring, especially when you're hiring higher level employees, it's always better to start with projects with them and then hire them.
Then you see what are their how do their working style, and then you understand and then move on. Yeah. So you talked about employees, so I'll just bring one more aspect of that employees thing. So you shared a small interesting thing about managing teams discipline. Do you want to share it now, or do you want to? Yeah, because when
no, I can share it now. My thing with my team has always been extremely open. First of all, we are a small team. It's not a very large team, but the way that I interact with my team is very direct. There is no layers. It is what it is. We don't give corporate answers to people saying, na idhar ka na udhar ka type of thing, So for them, it was very clear. First of all, the rules that I set in my company for my team was also aiding my team, and it was aiding my clients at the same time, right? So the rules that we had set was we were going to keep all the weekends off, right? We are not going to be working Saturdays, Sundays. We're not going to be working beyond 7 o'clock. The reason being, agencies had a very unhealthy atmosphere, and working till 11, 10 in the night, taking calls at any time. You don't have any personal space, any personal time. And I think it's a very unhealthy, there's no work-life balance, basically, right? So I had told my team that, and while youngsters don't realize this, over the years, as you grow older, it starts to affect your health. So I had told them that these are my rules. You will not be working beyond 7. So I don't care how you manage your time, but your work has to get completed by 7 o'clock. And I want no complaints from clients. If you can't handle something, inform the client that this much cannot be done in this day, right? A client is willing to listen to that, but they are not willing to, if you promise something, you have to deliver. There is no 2 ways about it, right? So when I did that, it just, because I'm giving flexibility to them, youngsters start to take you for granted. I mean, it's human psychology. Everybody does that, right? They start to take you.
Ma'am, kuch nahi bolta chalega.
Yeah, ma'am, kuch nahi bolegi, isliye chalega times. So, I mean, we had a timing of like 10:30 to like 6:30 timing that we had kept. And my team started to come in late. First few time it happened, I was like, okay. And I asked them, kya hua, what happened? This thing. They were like, no, train late ho gayi, ye late ho gayi. And this is the time when we are in office, right? So you are like, okay, fine. But when it started to happen every day, right? I gave them sort of one time saying that, why are you guys late every day, right? And they were like, no, we'll come on time and stuff like that. So the next time I realized that it's not the technique that I was using with them, it's not working, right? Because I was still taking the teacher approach, saying that, chabuk leke, get them to, and I was like, that's how corporates work, right? They will penalize you for something. So I said, let me give them a choice, because they are adults. They should be making their own choices, right? So I told them one day when I was going for a meeting and they had come in late, I told them, I said, I'm noticing that every day you guys are coming in by 11:30. Apna office ka timing is 10:30. If you can't handle it, let's change office timings from 11:30 to 8 in the night. 8:30 in the night. Immediately they were like, I said, your choice. You tell me which one you want to keep, as long as you guys come at that time. So the moment I said that, they all just turned around and they said, no, we will come at 10:30. And from that day forward, if they were going to be late, they would call me up and say, we might be a little late because of something. Right. So every day you cannot call up your boss and say,
it makes it difficult. So most of the time they will end up coming on time. So for me, it was just like, I don't need to shout. I don't need to do anything. I just need to understand that they are adults. They need to learn how to make their decisions. The same thing was in terms of accountability. When they would make mistakes, I would always have their back. But if they were making a mistake,
I would have them own up to the client saying it was my fault. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but obviously what happens is when people are aligned, everyone is coming on the same time, it will be easy for everyone to work together. Or else what happens, everything is interrelated and things, others also will suffer. And when two people are doing it, the other members also get demotivated. Because we are disciplined and someone is not getting disciplined and no one notices this. So sometimes it gets into a culture. So I think that's a good technique to discipline people there and driving the culture whatsoever. So
more than discipline. So that's the thing. More than discipline, this is more about being accountable for your choices that you're making, right? And that's what I want them to learn at an early age, because the people who are coming into the company and very few are older. They are mostly younger, right? And they have to learn that I am accountable for the choices that I'm making.
Yeah, 10:30 initially was your choice. You made a rule. And now 10:30 is their choice because they have chosen.
They have chosen it.
So that's the way it should be. So coming to the other aspects, like I have two more questions to actually talk to you. So one question is about maybe two can be interrelated as well. I'm not sure. So one thing is about how much you think for a woman the personal life impacts with her career aspect. What do you think about your take? Like, how much is it important, and how do people balance it out, or what is your take on it?
I think balancing, and for the traditional house, the person who's managing a house, a child, and work, I think it's very difficult and almost impossible. So if someone is trying to stretch themselves, trying to do everything, I don't think something is going to fall. You're going to drop the ball somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing, and this goes both ways, like I think the spouse has to lend a hand. Support. So today, if you cannot, you have to have, without support, it is very difficult. So single mothers, for example, who are trying to do everything together, for them, unless they have some help, like domestic help, which is helping them or something like that, they are not going to be able to manage. And trying to put yourself upon that मैं सब कुछ कर सकती हूँ role is like setting yourself up for failure. You will end up feeling guilty. You end up feeling bad.
Woman has so many hands now.
Yeah, and I think it's a very bad visual. Okay, no one is a multitasker. Okay, I mean, no matter how much we say it, something is going to fall and it's not going to be right. You can try and do 10 things at the same time. Take a phone call, handle a child. All of that. It's not going to happen. So at my space, I have, so fortunately for me, my husband is the type who is a collaborative type of individual. So it's very clear between him and me. And I also don't have a child to take care of. So between him and me, there is a very clear space and line about what he's going to do, what I'm going to do. If I need help, I ask for it. If he needs help, he asks me for it, right? But without the support, I think out there, it's not possible for a woman to do everything. But if she can do it, it's just that it'll be difficult. It'll be extremely
difficult. I think with you, whatever, like, maybe it's your choice, and also the family was like, they respected your choices and gave you the freedom, because most of the families, they don't do that. They don't respect the children's choices. Problem is that sometimes even some of my friends say, like, they're 40 now, and sometimes still parents ask, "Itna late kyun aa rahe ghar mein?" Is a grown up, he has some work whatsoever. So I still say, like, in Indian system, parents just interfere a lot. Sometimes they may be caring, they may think whatsoever, but sometimes it's not about the care part. They just want children to act exactly the way they expect to. I'm expecting my kid to act this way, so that should be broken. And at least women and men should be given that option to choose what they want to do. At least give them that freedom, and because the world is changing so fast, and today the market, or what's happening in the market, is very, very unpredictable right now. So parents can never have. Some parents are smart enough to have the wisdom of what's going to happen, but I think most of them don't understand अभी exactly क्या चल रहा है. Work from home कहाँ से आ गया अचानक से? Like, people never imagined remote jobs कहाँ से आ गया. People never imagined all this stuff.
gig working or these consulting spaces, things like that.
TikTok में dance करके पैसा कमा रहा है, YouTube में बच्चे पैसा कमा रहे हैं. How is the job happening? So I think people should actually realize this. Maybe आपके घर में if someone is listening to the episode is a girl or a mother or someone, so should give that liberty to other women, because this show is about women in marketing. I'm just talking about that context as well. So
that's a very important thing. Govardhan, one more thing I just wanted to talk about, because I have a lot of friends in corporates as well, right? So I have a lot of friends in various places who are trying to do things. And this is one thing that I have realized, that they feel that they need to do everything. They don't, right? They don't need to do everything. They don't need to be the end all and be all. They should turn around and ask for help. And then there are situations when they cannot ask for help, or they don't have the help, or they don't have the resources to do that, right?
But sometimes I also see one more case, Mansi, like because you are entitled to do a job, you have to manage everything. You should not be the family can't disturb nahi hona chahiye. Now she is made felt guilty or obliged for doing the job and also do the work. That case also means I came across. I see some people to talk that way.
Yeah, so I mean, somewhere you have to develop like I said, like a thick skin. So if there are remarks, you just like it's kind of, you know, bounces off you like water off a duck's back, you know, it just bounces off you. Yeah. So like for me, it was very clear, and my mom-in-law is also very, very sweet, extremely sweet. But she turned around, like she does feel it when I'm not around. You know, when I'm not around for work, when I'm too busy working and I'm not able to pay attention to her, right? She does feel it. But at the same time, she also turns around and she's like, can I get you something? Can I feed you? Can I do this? Can I do that? So it was very clear from mine and her relationship from the beginning as well. Like there are 2-3 things. You set expectations in a way that you want people to treat you, right? Yeah. So if you go out of your way and start to do certain types of things, the other people are going to expect that throughout. So there was a very clear conversation that you need to have around that. And this is true even of companies. So companies need to support those women who are not able to. So I have my second in command, who is also a mother of 2, she cannot work traditional ways also, like regular timings. So she's given the work. She tells me exactly what she's going to do, and she does it whether it's 12 in the night or the next day morning. I'm not asking her to be present at this particular time unless we have a meeting. Yeah. So the flexibility that you can give, the more flexibility you can give someone who is running multiple things, that's what organizations need to realize. As long as the work is done or there is no drop in terms of productivity, I think it's very important for organizations to give that space for people to do whatever they're supposed to.
Yeah, yes, Mansi, that's awesome. Actually, in the today's episode, we could actually understand a lot of stuff. Now, you should be open to breaking that rules or breaking that conventional thought process. If you want to do something, you have the conviction that you can do it. Go ahead and try it out. कुछ नहीं होता है, like risk लेना ही पड़ता है, you know, risk. So Mansi's total journey is a very good example. No? She was like kind of just defined everything the way she likes it, and she is like living it by her own terms. Of course, there will be difficulties, challenges, and also I want to thank Mansi for today's episode. Thank you very much, Mansi, for coming and sharing your valuable thoughts. I hope it will inspire many women out there.
I hope so too. Thank you so much, Govardhan. This was fun. I just want to leave people with one last thought. And this is not mine. It has been said many, many years ago, that show people how you want to be treated by treating yourself well. So it doesn't matter whether it's a personal relationship, professional relationship, business relationship, it doesn't matter. You train the people that if someone is treating you badly, it's because you have shown them that that's okay. Or if someone is, you know, saying something to you, it shouldn't be said because you have trained them to do that. So be very clear about where you want to be, how you want to be treated. Yeah. And do that. So that is the one thought that I want to leave people with. I mean, it requires some thinking, but I think if you really go into it, you'll realize that that's how I've lived my life. I've set expectations according to how I want to be treated.
That's so impactful, Mansi. I think that's a very small line, but I think it's huge, very, very impactful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Govardhan. This was fun.